Into the training, entrepreneurs had formed teams without paying attention to their strengths and weaknesses. Even bringing a team member on board, you should pitch to the team member. Mostly, we just tune our minds to finance. A lot of teams go forward to get the funding they require, they need, and all that, and still go ahead to fail.
You can be given $1 million, but if you do not see entrepreneurship as a science, if you do not test your idea, if you don't come out with a prototype or a minimum viable product to see whether your product is going to be acceptable by your potential customers, you will fail. Uber is a creative, disruptive concept. In order not to be thrown out of business, in order not to be consumed by your competitors, you must learn how to research and then evolve.
Hello, Thrive. Welcome to today's episode of Thrive on the Odyssey, your go-to place for conversations with seasoned entrepreneurs, business owners, professionals, and mentors in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Today, in this episode, we have two experienced and astute guests that are going to share their insights with us on the pros and cons of starting a business and the mindset that we need to grow and thrive in the ecosystem. So, grab your notepads, share this link to your friends, and invite them to come on board and come and listen. All the aha moments, all the things that you need for your business happens right here. So with me on the call today, we have Mr. John Haruna, who has over 10 years of experience in entrepreneurship and supporting entrepreneurs scale their businesses, build viable business, and also become investor ready. Also on the call, we have Ferdinand. Hi, Don. Welcome. Thank you for being here. Also on the call, we have Ferdinand Anane-Frimpong, who is a business development strategist, and he has a record of experience in sales, in marketing, in incubating startups, and has supported several entrepreneurs on diverse projects implemented by international organizations like USAID, World Bank, and MasterCard Foundation. So like I said, today we are going to have a lot of insights. So make sure you are taking notes, you are watching to the end, and you are sharing and commenting and asking your questions as well. So Ferdinand, welcome and thank you for being here with us today. We are excited to have you.
All right, Gladys, thank you very much. And you forgot, Don also has diverse experience. I said you forgot to add, Don also has diverse experience from a sales agent to being a sales manager, branch manager before jumping.
Mazi, I'm sorry. Mazi, I'm sorry. Right. So, like I mentioned, these men have experience in what they do, particularly in entrepreneurship. I've known them, I've worked with them for a while, and whatever they are going to tell you today, take it. So we'll just delve right in. Let's move on to today's topic, right? Um, I know nowadays a lot of young people want to start entrepreneurship because they want to escape the 9 to 5 rules, right? They don't want to be bossed around and all that. I'm not sure a lot of them have done the calculations Don did to be able to start their own businesses, but it's more of an escape route, right? What reoccurring challenges do you see most first-time founders or entrepreneurs underestimate when they are starting out? So let's start with Ferdinand. Yeah.
Yeah, I think most entrepreneurs, from a recent training I was part of, using that as an example as a trainer. Into the training, entrepreneurs had formed teams without paying attention to their strengths and weaknesses. And you see, in every entrepreneurship training that you form part of or you are likely to attend, one of the key things trainers will take you through is building the entrepreneurship mindset. And the mindsets will guide you to even forming the team. Right now, I know all my strengths, and even using we the people on this call. If I am to form a team with Don, it will mean we will have a lot of we will have a lot of the same skill sets repeating itself. Because in one way or the other, knowing myself and knowing Don for some time, I can boldly tell you we have some traits that are very common. But then, when entrepreneurs are forming teams, they don't pay attention to their traits as human, their strengths and weaknesses, understanding their strengths to know the people they are supposed to bring on board to complement them. These are some of the key things people leave behind. And trust me, if you are not able to understand your strengths and weaknesses, convincing people to join your team is going to be very difficult. Just this dawn, I was going through the number of pitches we had, and I realized we've just been limited to sales pitch. Sales and investor pitch. But trust me, there are about 9 to 10 different pitches we have. You have the sales pitch, the investor pitch, even bringing a team member on board. You should pitch to the team member. And how do you do this? By understanding yourself, understanding your strengths and weaknesses, you'll be able to put this into forming your vision and mission statements. Because you know your strengths, you know currently what you can do to achieve whatever you want to achieve in the future. That's your vision. So, in the beginning, entrepreneurs mostly don't pay attention to understanding their personality traits and that of whoever they want to bring on board. So you realize that in a certain team, they are all talkatives. So they all can talk. They miss the technicalities. They miss the emotional intelligence bits. Because at the end of the day, when things are shaky, we need someone to tell the whole team that we have to move forward, we have to push. So in team formation, if you understand your personality traits, if you understand the personality traits of your team, it will help you to form the right team so that you all can come together using the team's strengths and weaknesses combined with the um, problem and solution you are bringing on board to know what you stand for currently, that's your mission, and what you stand to achieve in the future, that's your vision and even your goal as a business. So I think these are some of the things we undermine. Mostly, we just tune our minds to finance, finance, finance. A lot of teams go forward to get the funding they require, they need, and all that, and still go ahead to fail. Why? Because it lacked planning. That's the team. The team itself lacked understanding of its own team and what they have to achieve. So they were not even able to set the vision and mission properly. Sometimes even the location, because if you go into operations management, it makes you understand that even forming teams, you have to know who fits into what, and all these things combined will even help you to know some of the challenges the team is likely to face in the future. So you plan and prepare well for it. So me, I will just limit it to some of these basic things. The team's psychology understanding, personality understanding, vision and missions are some of the things they don't pay attention to as businesses. And what they overpay attention to, if given the opportunity to add, is always funding, 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 funding. And when the funding comes, the management and everything sometimes becomes a problem if you don't understand your team personality, who is to manage what you're supposed to achieve your success and all that.
Mm. Right. That was really in depth. Thank you so much for sharing that. So now let's hear from Don. Don, what are the top two or three challenges that you see first time founders or entrepreneurs consistently underestimate?
Right. Thank you. So Ferdinand made my work easier and he ended with funding, 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 funding. So what I have realized is that entrepreneurs, especially young entrepreneurs, when they hear entrepreneurship, the first thing that comes to mind is funding, funding, funding. Okay. And sometimes they rush into some line of business because they've seen some other person succeeding in that business. Okay. Without necessarily studying what made that business successful at that particular point in time or for that particular entrepreneur. Now, entrepreneurship is a science. Okay, it's a science, and it's a science that involves applying systematic, evidence-based approaches, to starting and growing businesses. Okay, you have to test some hypotheses. Okay, you have to formulate hypotheses about your business idea. You have to test those hypotheses through experimentation and refine the approaches based on data-driven insights. But most of the times, once we see that somebody is into a particular line of business, then we say, okay, this person is succeeding in this line of business. Let me also go and so you rush into it. You can be given $1 million, but if you do not see entrepreneurship as a science, if you do not test your idea, if you don't come out with a prototype or a minimum viable product to see whether your product is going to be acceptable by your potential customers, you will be given $1 million, but you will fail. And that is what most young entrepreneurs do not look at. They feel like, and so that's where people think that, okay, I'm a businessman. I'm a businessman. A businessman is different from an entrepreneur. As an entrepreneur, you must be scientific in whatever you do. Whatever decision you are making, it should be data driven. You don't just make decisions in a vacuum. You don't say that, okay, this thing I'm coming out with, I've seen that children like eating this sweet, like eating this toffee, like wearing this hat. So let me just go and start producing them in huge quantities. You are likely to fail because the environment might not be suitable for that particular business. So for me, that's what I think most young entrepreneurs overlook when they want to start a business. Thank you.
Right. Thank you very much, Don. So I myself have been asking, is there really a difference between being an entrepreneur and a business owner? And I think John just answered that. So I'm not gonna ask that question. So just in line with what you said, the current entrepreneurship landscape and climate, right? Things may have changed a lot. I think things are evolving very fast now. After COVID, things have changed, and now there's inflation and now there's tech and all that, right? So how would you say the business landscape has changed, let's say from post COVID, and then what should new or upcoming entrepreneurs be paying attention to more?
Right. Thank you, Gladys. So, is it the world is changing? Okay, things are changing through technology. Things are changing. Uh, there's this renowned economist and political scientist known as Joseph Schumpeter, and he came out with the concept of creative distraction. Okay, where entrepreneurs introduce ideas or solutions that come to disrupt the traditional or existing way of doing things. For instance, if you take Uber, for instance, Uber, you will realize that before Uber, there were taxis all over, where you see a taxi painted in yellow, green with a yellow number plate, right? Then Uber was introduced. Uber is a creative, disruptive concept because it has come to disrupt the traditional transport system of using taxis. And so one of the things that we have learned, or during COVID, you realize that most people started having virtual meetings instead of having physical meetings. That is technology. And so, in order not to be thrown out of business, in order not to be consumed by your competitors, you must learn how to research and then evolve. As things are changing, you also learn to change, adapt new strategies, be innovative to be able to meet the changing uh, 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 demands or preferences of your potential customers. So for me, if you ask me, I will tell that one of the things that COVID has taught us is the fact that we should leverage technology more in the things we do. Thank you.
Thank you, Don. Um, Ferdinand. what are your thoughts? Let's hear your thoughts. What would you say, or how would you say the business landscape has changed? The pros and cons of starting a business with, this current economic shifts and everything that is going on with tech and all that. What would you say the business climate, or how would you say the business climate has evolved? The pros and cons of starting a business. How would you describe that?
All right. So I will start by saying even before COVID, like Don said, entrepreneurship is a science. So if you are not ready to understand the data and analyze it to also find yourself a solution where you can best be known for, then you are going to be behind. In entrepreneurship, failure is actually not the end.